In this video we will talk about something called imaginary unit. What if someone gave you a problem like this? Find square root of -9. Well, let's think about that. 3 times 3 equals +9. -3 times -3 also equals +9. So there is no number on the number line that can satisfy our solution. So what is the solution to this problem? Well, there is no real solution here. No real solution. So that means if we look at numbers that we know from our number line, like 0, 1, 2, 3, or any number in between, no matter what it is, we will not be able to find any number that will give us -9 if you multiply that number by itself. So that's why mathematicians came up with the idea. So we're going to look at the same problem again. I'm going to clear it. So square root of -9, we can rewrite that as square root of +9 times square root of -1. But we still have a problem. What is square root of -1? This is our problem. If we can figure this out, we can solve the issue. Now, since there is nothing that could give us -1 when we multiply it, we make up a new system. So we make a new system, okay, where we say that something times something must give us -1, because otherwise we cannot solve it. So mathematicians thought about this, and somebody said, okay, let's call this something, let's call it imaginary unit. So then let's give it letter I. So I say that letter I stands for imaginary. So something imaginary times something else imaginary must give me -1. Well, if that is true, maybe I could use a shorter way to write this. I could use letter I. So I could say I for imaginary times another I will give me -1. Now, I can write this even shorter. So I can say letter I to the power of 2, because that's what it means. I times I, right? That equals -1. So this could be my starting point. So I squared equals -1. Let me erase this. Now, if I to the power of 2 equals -1, then if we take a square root of both sides, we take a square of I to the power of 2, and we take a square root of -1, we end up with this type of definition, that I, or imaginary unit, equals positive or negative square root of -1. And this is the definition of imaginary unit. Once we have this, we are able to solve problems involving negative square roots. So if somebody is asking, what is the square root of -9? We can say, well, that's same like square root of +9 times square root of -1. Using our new system, we can say that square root of +9 is plus or minus 3. And now, using our definition of imaginary number, we can also say that square root of -1 is imaginary unit. Another example, what's square root of -16? Using the first example, we can easily see that it's positive or negative for I, or for imaginary. square root of negative 25 would be positive or negative 5i. In the next video I will talk about where these imaginary numbers are. What are they actually?